Kia ora and welcome to the Amateur Austenite. I'm Frances Duncan, author, Austenite life coach. My co-host is Rachel Pilwell, book buyer, Austenite, and all-round nerd.
Hi.
Today we're discussing chapter 52 of Emma. Harriet is exiled to London. Emma visits Jane Fairfax. And surprise, surprise, Mrs. Elton is a bitch. I shouldn't have done that while you were taking a sip of tea.
But it's so true. I hate her so much. She's such a bitch.
So we've been talking a lot about how awkward it is between Harriet and Emma, and at some point, Emma's gonna have to tell Harriet she's engaged to the guy that Harriet was into. Harriet's equally happy to avoid meeting, not reproaching Emma in any way, but Emma's reading resentment in the messages, whether that's there or not.
She is a bit of an unreliable narrator.
It increases the desirableness of their being separate. So she contacts Isabella. Harriet's got a nasty tooth and she needs it fixed. Can she come stay with you and go to the dentist? A health thing, yay! So Harriet heads off to London. She's invited for at least a fortnight, but then she ends up staying a bit longer. And Mr. Wood's house carriage takes her, which is really nice.
Yeah. When Emma and Harriet were close friends, it would have happened because Emma's close friends with Harriet. Now, because of their separation, it's kind of more as a way of apology.
Also, it gets Harriet out of the way so she can enjoy being engaged and not feel quite so guilty.
Yeah.
It is a bit self-serving.
It's easier to ignore the guilt when it's not staring you in the face. It's not just, I've stolen your man, it's, we cannot be friends now for other reasons as well.
Harriet deciding that she was into Mr. Knightley actually opened Emma's eyes to who Harriet was and her situation in life and made her realise, oh, everyone's been telling me this is an inappropriate friendship, and now I realise that they were right.
I kind of wish that realisation had come around without it involving a man. It's again a flaw of Emma's character that she is oblivious to things unless it is directly negatively affecting her. Is that actually maybe a trait of narcissism?
I just think that's being human. Isn't everyone like that?
Yeah, that's fair. It's easier to see the flaws of a relationship when you're not in it yourself. The emotion gets in the way. Causes us to make bad judgment.
So Emma had 3 things that were making her uncomfortable. She's dealt with one to a certain extent. She's dealt with Harriet, or at least pushed that worry back. The next one is telling her father about her engagement, but she's decided she's going to wait till Mrs. Weston's had her baby, so we know that she's out of danger. And then the third one is Jane Fairfax.
She just understands her father so well to know that he's not going to be able to handle any other news that could worry him until after the baby is born. That's so sweet and considerate. Like, I feel like other characters would get annoyed at being kept in the dark about such a big thing, but I don't think Mr. Woodhouse would mind. Like, I don't think he'd even probably think about the fact that they would be engaged and not told him for a bit because of that reason.
Well, you were saying people not aware of anything that happens unless it directly affects them. Mr. Woodhouse is
100% in that. Yeah.
So not surprising that Emma's a bit like that, because that's what she's seen. That's her one adult.
That's true.
Emma's very aware that she's behaved badly to Jane.
Yes.
She did kind of try and make it up, was not taken well, and she's worried she's still going to be unwelcome. But Jane actually comes out to meet her on the stairs. I'm so glad you're here. And Emma wants to say all this stuff, and then she hears Mrs. Elton. I can't say anything. So just gives her like a handshake. Yeah. Very, very earnest shake of the hand.
Probably the equivalent of a bear hug in this time.
Yeah, probably. Miss Bates is out, which Austen says, accounted for the previous tranquility. Yeah. Any jab we can get at Miss Bates.
If Miss Bates was home and Emma had shown up, you know, that they would have seen her presence from halfway down the street. They would have been aware that Emma was coming.
Mrs. Elton is being unusually gracious because she thinks that she knows the secret that no one else does about Frank and Jane.
And so she's like all smug and like, ha ha ha, I have more knowledge than you. I am the more powerful one. But it's actually like, you actually probably found out after Emma.
Probably.
Especially if it's because of the letter.
Oh, there's another letter. Mrs. Elton is reading Jane the letter from Mrs. Smallridge to show that she's being forgiven. And she's like, don't worry, we'll read later. You and I shall not want opportunity. So she obviously thinks that Jane and her are going to continue to be friends. And she puts the letter into a purple and gold reticule, which I'm pretty sure is intentional to show that Mrs. Elton's really flashy.
Yeah, because actually purple is not a colour you would see often in Austen's time, and especially the gold.
And Austen so really gives us that level of detail.
She might describe the colour of a dress, but mostly as a way to also describe, like, how that matches their complexion and things like that. But never specifies reticules, really. If they've got a reticule, sure, but...
We don't need to describe everything in great detail. And that's where I think the difference is when people are trying to do an Austen-esque thing, that they describe things that everybody's wearing. Austen doesn't really do that.
Austen doesn't do that, no. But I kind of like that. It's part of the reason why I think I've never been able to read Tolkien, because it's just so descriptive. Amazing world building, but my brain is already gone. I'm here for the dialogue.
I have a habit of writing talking heads and then have to go in and write context.
If it was playing out in real life, you're having a conversation, you are just talking, you are just doing the dialogue. The colour of your shirt isn't overly important, unless it's saying something like you're playing it being incredibly rich and you're really flashy.
Yeah.
You're trying to seem more wealthy than you are.
Mrs. Elton continues to try and have a superiority. I haven't seen you since Box Hill. We should totally all do that same thing again. Everyone should be there. That was there last time.
That was a disaster. No, thank you.
I think she's glorying in the fact that Frank is not into Emma, and she thinks that Emma, when Emma discovers it, will be upset or humiliated.
And she thinks Emma's going to jump at the chance to see Frank. Mrs. Elton's such a dick.
Yeah, she really is. Miss Bates arrives, doesn't know what to say because wants to say everything, but doesn't know what she's allowed to talk about. Charming young man. I mean, Mr. Perry, he's been looking after Jane and that's why she's so well. And
Mr. Perry, a charming young man.
Yeah.
The first time he's been described as such.
And the way that she talks to Mrs. Elton, thankful delight, indicates that there'd been some resentment after breaking off with Mrs. Smallridge that's now supposedly being forgiven. Mrs. Elton goes into a rant about how important her husband is. Everybody wants his opinion. They seem not to be able to do a thing without him. She doesn't know what her husband's job is. The things that they're asking about are literally his job. He is Mr. Knightley's right hand, even though we know Mr. Knightley doesn't think that well of Mr. Elton, especially since his marriage. He thinks
his right hand is Mr. Larkin, guys.
Yeah. He thinks better of William Larkins and Robert Martin than Mr. Elton, and the Eltons would be appalled at that. The Crown meeting, Weston and Cole will be there too, but you only speak of those who lead. Mr. E and Knightley have everything their own way. Mr. Elton and Mr. Knightley run this entire town. Mr. Weston and Mr. Cole just there, What?
It's really weird to my mind that she calls him Mr. E. I don't know why. My brain doesn't like it.
She's trying to be cute.
Nothing she does could be cute, though, sadly. Is that sadly? She is very much under the delusion of grandeur. Her place in society, her husband's place in society, his position would probably be fairly well respected. She earns no respect. She deserves no respect.
She has a job as the vicar's wife, though, and it seems like she's probably not going to be doing it because she won't know what it is.
No, even if she did know what it was, there's been no instance where she's talked about it or seemed to be doing that job, because she seems to spend all of her time hanging out with Jane, trying to spend time with people who are wealthy or talking about her brother-in-law. She doesn't actually seem to do anything of value.
No. She even says, what would become of my crayons and my instrument if I was as busy as him? Honey, those aren't your work. That's to take up your time.
It's a hobby, girl.
Yeah, and it makes me think of Lady Middleton, who gave up the piano when she got married. And earlier on, Mrs. Elton had basically said, I'm not going to have time now that I'm married. And Emma was like, you can make time if you want to. Emma's like, I'm pretty sure that meeting you think your husband has isn't today, because she knows from Mr. Knightley, and Mrs. Elton just slaps that down. Of course she's not wrong. But then, Mr. Elton turns up and she really is. She refers to this as the most troublesome parish that ever was. Are you not aware that the vicar has work to do? It is his job, lady.
Yeah, maybe go to a smaller town away from here. Then the parish would be less troublesome and you could spend more time with your husband.
She doesn't know how it goes in country villages and what his job is. And she's dominating the conversation when Jane actually wants to talk to Emma. She can tell that Jane wants to, that she's trying. And Mrs. Elton's going on about what a good wife she is. But aren't I setting you a good example? You never know how soon that example may be wanted. Like, dropping the hugest hints. If Emma didn't know, I wonder what she'd be thinking at this point.
Mrs. Elton is so incredibly unsubtle and bad at keeping secrets. If she was kidnapped and they wanted to torture information about her, they would just have to step into the room and she'd tell everyone. She'd tell them exactly what they wanted to know. No torture necessary. She wouldn't want anyone to hurt her, but also because she's so narcissistic. The pettiness. She's so petty. And normally I love a petty bitch, but I'm also just like, you're just a bitch who happens to be petty as well.
Because then she talks shit about Mr. Knightley's servants. Showing her bad taste, bad-mouthing the servants who've probably worked for his family for generations. Because Mr. Elton's like, I went to Donwell and he wasn't even there and there was no note. She's like, it's probably the servants. They suck. The cook was supposed to send me a recipe, which they call a receipt, and she never did.
Maybe because you don't deserve to eat food and you should starve and die.
That's a bit harsh.
I don't like them.
Mr. Elton's like, I mean, William Larkins told me he wasn't going to be there, but I didn't believe him. Dude! Why are you not listening to the servant? Not even a servant.
The estate manager?
Yeah.
Like, surely if anybody was going to know, why wouldn't you just believe if he's not there, he's not there? Yeah. But also it obviously shows that you got your dates wrong. And especially if there's no notes, it means that Mr. Knightley wasn't expecting you. He didn't know to leave a note because he didn't know you were coming.
Well, there was a whole thing that Mr. Elton had sent a note that morning and Mr. Knightley had written back, but it's not clear what was in those notes as to whether that was about today or about tomorrow, because this is a pre-meeting for their meeting tomorrow at the Crown with Mr. Weston and Mr. Cole. William Larkins had commented to Mr. Elton that he didn't know what was up with Mr. Knightley because he could hardly get anything out of him recently. Emma had been told earlier that Mr. Knightley had been walking away from William Larkins to think about her.
He's off wandering the fields thinking about me.
Yeah, and she realises with all of this that he's probably at Hartfield waiting for her. And, I mean, she doesn't want to hang out with the Eltons either. So she goes to leave and Jane not only walks her out of the room, she even takes her downstairs.
Aww.
She's really trying to make it up, and Emma's like, look, if you didn't have all these people here, I might want to talk about stuff that we shouldn't. It's supposed to be a secret right now.
Well, because no one knows about Emma and Knightley's engagement at this point, do they?
No, they don't know about that. So Jane doesn't know, and it's possible at this point if Emma had time alone with Jane, maybe she might have been like, I'm happy for you, also here's a secret of mine. I don't know.
Reciprocating secret engagements, and especially because we know Jane can keep a secret.
Jane says, I love everything that is decided and open. And that's the echo of what Mr. Knightley said earlier. It's been really hard for her to keep all of this in and have to lie to people. Yeah, now she's like, it's such a weight off my shoulders. You don't need to apologise to me. Everyone's so happy for you. And Emma's also
really nice.
A little sad. She's like, we're going to lose you just as I begin to actually know you. This whole bit, even though they don't really get to talk, you could see the two of them wanting to talk to each other and this kindness between them that will separate, because it's been agreed that after 3 months of mourning, at least, when Jane marries Frank, they're going to live at Enscombe with Mr. Churchill.
Which makes sense, but... yeah, it's sad because they could be genuinely best friends. Equal friends. Their husbands will never be friends. But the two of them, they could be real with each other. Especially in terms of female companionship and equality. It's something that at least Emma hasn't had, because obviously Harriet was below her. Mrs. Weston was an employee / mother figure. Emma hasn't really had another woman who she can just be...
real with.
Yeah.
So this is their truncated friendship.
I assume Jane and Mr. Churchill will visit Hartfield every so often.
Presumably.
Or Highbury, I mean.
They'll stay at Randall's.
They'll
have a piano and more space. That'll be good. And that's our discussion of Chapter 52 of Emma by Jane Austen. I've been Frances Duncan. This has been Rachel Pilwer.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We wish you happy reading.